Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, my dear students. I hope that you all stay healthy. Today we are going to review our discussion about semantics and pragmatics, the definition and the differences. Some of you answered, well, most of you answered that semantics and pragmatics are branches of linguistics, and you are right. You are absolutely right. Um, so as you can see in this diagram, there are several branches of linguistics. There are phonetics and phonology, which mainly talk about sounds. Morphology discusses how words are formed. Syntax discusses how words are formed into phrases. Are formed into clauses, and clauses into sentences. And you are right when you say that semantics and pragmatics deal with meaning. So I'd like to review your answers. So these are the answers that you have already given and you have already written in the Google Classroom. Let me read from Dita Hiliatun. She wrote, semantic is the study of the literal meaning of a sentence, and most of you answer this one, and you're right when you say that semantics deals with literal meaning, and pragmatic is the study of the intended meaning of a speaker. Yes, when we talk about pragmatics, we don't only talk about the meaning of the word as or expression as written in a dictionary, but also what exactly is the speaker intention of saying it. Now, as you can see here, there are several sentences that I highlighted red because I'd like to clarify this. Dita mentioned that semantics and pragmatics mainly discuss meaning. Yes, you are right, Dita. However, it's not only a phrase or a clause. When we talk about pragmatics, we are talking about an utterance. So it's not a phrase or a clause. And then there is another answer. From Kimberly, who mentioned semantic generally attributed to syntax and pragmatics. Well, actually, I'm not sure I understand what you are trying to say, Kimberly. Semantic generally attributed to syntax and pragmatics. Perhaps what you are trying to say is, well, I don't know. We need to have a classroom discussion to talk about this. Now let's see your other answer, the answers from the other students. From Dania, semantics, blah 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 blah, and then she wrote interpreting a word not just in literal but also on detail. Now, when you answer question, you have to avoid using some words which require you to give further explanation unless you provide it. Here you don't provide what you mean by detail, so you need to clarify that. They mainly and then you continue, they mainly discuss about meaning of a phrase or a clause. Like I said before, it's not about a phrase or a clause when we are talking. Oh, this is semantics. Well, it's not only a phrase or a clause. It can also, semantics also, when we talk about meaning, the meaning can also be in words, not only in a phrase or a clause. I mean, in a unit which is smaller than a phrase or a clause. Okay, next. Now, this one is from Azahra Akila. You wrote semantics focuses on the link between the lexicon, grammar, and semantic meaning. Well, I hope you do know what the meaning of lexicon, Azahra. Yeah, because as I always say to my students, you have when you give answer, you have to make sure you know what you are trying to say. So I hope that you know lexicon is, because it is a specific terminology in linguistic. Yeah. Okay. Now it's from Anisha Yulianti. Okay, you give example. If we hear or see the word ocean, so it's just a place. And then while pragmatic study about the invincible meaning. Well, meaning is invincible, invisible. I mean, you cannot see meaning, right? It is in our brain. Okay, so and then if we hear or see this is for semantics, and about invisible according to the context of what the speakers are saying. Oh, okay, let me try to understand it first. Well, actually, I'm a little bit confused about your explanation here, Anisha. Yeah. Uh, if we hear or see the word ocean, so it's just a place. While pragmatics study about the invisible meaning according to the context. Yes, you're right that pragmatic is related to the context meaning and of what the speakers are saying or writing or writers are writing. Yes, it is the meaning as intended by the speakers. You're right. But I don't see clearly the difference. Pragmatics, pragmatics example, if we hear or see the word ocean, we can imagine the ocean scenery different from other people who also heard or saw about it. This is not a clear example to distinguish between pragmatics and semantics, because in semantics, if we hear the word ocean, for example, it can refer to ocean, you know, some beautiful place, um, which you can where you can have holiday, for example. But the what occur in our brain, of course, it differs from one person to another. But that is not the pragmatic meaning. You will see the example, the clearer example of the meaning in semantics and pragmatics in the next slide. Mm. Okay, and then this another, okay, this one next, please. Now this is the discussion, one of the discussion that I like to read, because there is an interaction between the students there, among the students here. It's from Latif and Aldi. So Aldi says that semantic is study of language that is related to the meaning of language mainly in logical point of view. Now, and then Latif responded it by saying, "Are you sure that semantic studies language in a logical point of view, Aldi?" Well, if I read your explanation, Aldi, I will also respond the same way as Latif. I would like to ask further what you mean by a logical point of view, because meaning, as I've already told you before, it occurs in our brain. Of course, when we talk about semantic meaning, it is related to the meaning in a dictionary. And pragmatics is related to the speaker's meaning. I hope that you are not confused. Well, I will give you the example to clarify this. Okay, this is a very good answer to distinguish meaning in semantics and meaning in pragmatics. For example, when when a speaker says David is such a nice guy, so there is the word nice here, which is highlighted. The speaker can mean two things. But before we go further into the speaker meaning, you can check your dictionary in order to find out what's the meaning of nice. Okay? Let's see. Dictionary. Let's see. Nice. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Nice. So here, the meaning of nice as an adjective: pleasant, kind, slightly different. Alright, pleasant, enjoyable, satisfactory. So this is the semantic meaning, the meaning as it is written in a dictionary. Now, let's go back to pragmatics meaning. So when somebody says David is such a nice guy, yes, you're right. It can mean anything. Depends on the context. Here, Latif give example. The speaker can mean two things. He's complimenting David, or he's being sarcastic about David. Yes, you're right. So it depends on the relationship between the speaker and David. Yeah. So the meaning of nice can be positive, as he is complimenting David. David is such a nice guy. Or he's being sarcastic about David, because the speaker might have not good a relationship with David. How is it? Is it clearer? Maybe another example here also can can give you more give clearer differences. So here Dicky uses the word bad. Yeah, like when somebody say bad. Okay, let's check the dictionary. Oh, sorry. Bad. Okay. So bad it can be a special shaped piece of wood used for hitting the ball in many games. It can be a stick, it can be animal, it can be eye, it can be hit. Now, depending on the context, the speaker can mean that a bat is a nocturnal mammal that fly in a cave and eat fruit, or a baseball bat. Well, it depends on the context, and you are right, Tiki. Okay, now another examples of meanings in semantics and pragmatics. For example, if someone say pull out your arm, it can be your left arm or your right arm. And if you check your dictionary, arm means either of the two long parts of the upper body which are fixed to the shoulder and have hands at the end. Okay, so either of the two long parts of the upper, it can be the right one or the left one. But if, for example, you are so this is actually taken from Harry Potter, and he is in a magic wand, and then when Harry Potter used my magic wand, so it depends whether he uses magic wand with his right arm or left arm. So when somebody say pull out your arm, and he will give the arm which he uses to use magic wand, and then you are late. So this is not an information, and it can mean that the speaker is upset about the other person who is late, and we need a break here. It can be a break to have a rest or to end a relationship. Okay, that's all from me about examples of meaning in semantics and pragmatic. I'm going to give you an assignment after this. So thank you.